What's up, everybody? Today I'm gonna rig up. Tomorrow I'm going fishing. So tomorrow I'm going fishing at Lake Berryessa for crappie, and one of my rods I'm gonna rig up with a sliding bobber, a slip bobber with a bobber stop, so I could put that bait right in that strike zone. The nice thing about this is that you can set the bobber stop on your line to the depth that you want your bait to fish. So if you're marking fish at 15 feet, you'll set this bobber stop on your line to where your bait's going to end up sinking to about 13 feet. So it's like right above their face. So it's right in that strike zone. So we're going to show you how to rig this up. We're going to show you all the baits we use. We'll talk about the rod, the reel, the line, and let's get into it. So if I'm just throwing a jig, I use a 4-pound test mono P-line. But when I'm throwing a little extra gear like this, I'm going to use a 6-pound test. This one's a Berkeley Trilene, I believe, mono. It's on a rowdy rod with a Abu Garcia reel. I'll show you the setup. Yeah, so we got this. This little Abu Garcia with the 6-pound test mono on it, on the rowdy. And this is rated for 2 to 6 pounds. And we're running the 6-pound mono on here with the Abu Garcia reel. So here's most of the gear that we're going to use. We got the slip bobbers. That's a fill. We got the bobber stops. We got some Lost Creek crappie jigs. These paddle tails, these grubs. They put off some good vibration. I like these Notorious custom jigs. I use a lot of those. We got the Camo Joes, crappie jigs, hand-tied crappie jigs from Camo Joes. Here's some more of them. The split shot. I was lazy. I couldn't find my swivels, so I'm just gonna dismantle this. This is a 30-pound snap swivel set, but I'm just gonna remove the clip off of it and use that swivel because I don't feel like digging. We got some Bobby Garland crappie jigs. We got Rooster's over here. So we're gonna go ahead and tie it up and show you how we do it. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tie on my Camo Joe jig right here. I'm gonna do a live bait knot. I don't know how good this is gonna show up in the video with this thin line, but I'm gonna show you how I tie it. The first thing I do is a round turn knot on the bite. You see that? That's my round turn right there. Then I'll go through the jig with the tag end. Then I take the tag in. So now that I got my jig on the tag in, I'm gonna take the tag in, run it through the round turn, like that. Now I'm gonna wrap it 5 times, and this is the same knot I use for my live. This is a live bait knot or a loop knot that I use on my halibut rigs too, for when I'm nose hooking anchovies. So I'm gonna wrap this around the bite of the line 5 times. Probably can't see very well, but I'm gonna wrap this tag in around here 5 times. What I'm gonna do is take the tag in and run it through that loop. And that round turn, run it back downhill through that loop. Moisten it to reduce friction. And then pull it up tight and set the knot. I like to use my thumbnail to push that knot down to make it all seat together real tight. I'll make sure it's good on there. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. And I'm going to just cut that tagging off, and I'm going to leave a little tiny bit on there just in case it should slip. It's got something to grab onto to set. Alright. And the reason why you can see this loop, I hope you can see, this loop gives the bait freedom to move around. So it's not like tying a tight knot to the eye to where it's stuck in a position. It can move around on there. It's more lively. It can be more active on there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull about 5 feet of line, and I'm going to cut the line right here. So I got about 5 or 6 feet of line, and that gives me the ability to retie. If I, like, say I want to switch colors, well, I got, you know, if I need to use 5 or 6 inches of more line, I still got plenty to work with here. So I'm not putting myself too close to my terminal tackle, so I still got some distance between my terminal tackle and my jig. So now what I'm going to do is take my 30-pound swivel. I don't know if you can see that little swivel. 30-pound test swivel, and I'm going to just tie this on with a clinch knot and back it up with a half hitch. So I just go through there, cross up the line like this, and I'm going to give it like 6 or 7 twists on the line. Then I'll take the tag in and go through the loop right above the eye. I know it's probably hard for you to see this, but I hope you can catch what I'm fishing on. And then I'll moisten it, pull it tight. I'm putting slight pressure on the tag in. I don't want to pull too hard on this because that can actually break the knot if you put too much pressure on the tag in. Mostly pulling on the bite. The bite of the line is the area between the ends is the bite of the line. It's like the body of the line. And again, I take my thumbnail and I just push that down to seat it. And that makes it a lot easier sometimes just to seat that knot. Slight pressure on the tag end. And then on that tag end, I like to tie a little half hitch. And this just backs it up in case it slips, that it will grab. So I use my thumb to push that knot right close to the other knot. So you can see, I hope, I got the clinch knot backed up with a half hitch, and then I'm just going to trim this off right past the half hitch. I use my thumbnail as a guide. Voila. Okay, so now this is your leader. You got about 6 feet to the jig, to the swivel. Now we'll move on to the float and the bobber stop. So now I'm working on the bite of the line coming off the end of my rod. So what I'll do is I'll take this bite of the line and I'm going to put a bobber stop on it. That's the first thing that goes on next. And it's just like a little tube with the tube is so you can run your line through it. So we'll do that. And then run the line through it. And this will be adjustable. You can change the position of this later. Now that the tube is on the line, what we do is we slide the tube out from the bobber stop. And then, I don't know if you saw that, but the tube fell off. But now we've got the bobber stop on the line. You pull a little line out. So now what you do is you just pull the two ends until it seats up on the bite of your line. And again, you can move this. And I'm not gonna trim these tag ends or nothing. I'm just gonna leave it like that, so I can tighten it later. I'm not setting this in a permanent position right now because later on I'm gonna be reading my my fish finder and seeing where the fish is at. So if the fish is 15 feet, I'll try to get this to where my bait, because this is gonna what determines the depth of your bait, because the bobber is gonna stop on this. It slides up and down, and that's real nice. And you can reel this through your eyelets too. So I'm not gonna put this real tight. I'm just gonna set it for now. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a small bead. I'm gonna put one of these beads like these on the line. So I'll put one of the small ones on here. Let that go. Then I want the bright colorful tip to be on top. So I'm gonna go through the slip bobber like that. Now I'm gonna go back to my leader with that little itty bitty 30-pound swivel, and I'm gonna tie it on there. And what will happen is the float will be able to slide between the swivel and between the bobber stop, and you can set the bobber stop at the position that you want, so you can be fishing the depth where you're seeing the fish, where you're marking fish. You can adjust it and put that bait right in their strike zone, put it right in their face. And that's what we're gonna do tomorrow. So again, I'm using a half hitch, or I'm sorry, I'm using and again, I'm using the Clinch Knot, and I'll back it up with a half hitch, because the Clinch Knot is a really good universal knot to use for a lot of things, but on certain lines it will slip sometimes. But if you back it up with a half hitch, you got no worries. Once that half hitch hits the knot, it stops it in its place, and you're good to go. Even if it should slip, it's not going to slip past this knot. So there it is. So now, probably hard to see that, but Clinch knot on each side with a half hitch on the tag end to stop it should it slip. Now I'm going to trim the tag end off. I'll use my thumbnail as a guide. I just put it like this. Run my knife down my fingernail and cut it like that. Now that's ready to go. So what you're going to see happen is now you got your bait about 5-6 feet down from the bobber. See, because it catches the bobber will stop on the swivel. I could have put a bead on there too, but don't really need to, because it's got a big enough opening. It's not going to damage that knot banging against it. But I got the bead on the top of the bobber, and again, this thing will slide through. So this will slide right through till it hits that bobber stop. Here comes the bobber stop. Boom. Stops it. That's going to hold your bait at the position you want it in, at the depth you want. So you set this up at the depth that you want to fish. And if you think, okay, now the fish are 18 feet. Well, you take this bobber stop and you slide it up the line, give it a few more feet, and now you're fishing even deeper. That bobber stop's going to stop that bobber and put your bait in the position that you want it. And the other thing you can do, if you're trying to hold your bait, you can take and put a split shot. You can put a split shot right here above the swivel, put a split shot on there, and that'll help keep you vertical and stuff. And this bobber stop will reel up through the eyelets. Here comes the bobber, bam, and then here's your bait. And that's what's going to get them crappie to bite. Somebody say, hey, we want some crappie. And that's it. Not a very well planned out video, but just a little bit of info here. Hope that helps. Yeah, I probably should put a bead on there, because that float is going to actually swallow that damn swivel because it's so small. So we'll put a bead on there. So we got bead, we got bobber, we got another bead, and now we're gonna tie this with a clinch knot to the swivel with the leader. All right, so you see we got the bobber stop on the bite of the line coming down from there. We got the slip bobber with a bead on top, bead on the bottom, to a snap swivel with our 5-6 foot leader. Can I reach Camo Joe? There it is, Camo Joe jig. And we're ready to go fishing tomorrow. We're gonna hit Lake Berryessa, see what's up with them crappie. So we'll see you out there on the water. Give this a try. It's a very effective way to get up on them crappie and put that bait right in their face in that strike zone. Find them fish on your meter, figure out where they're at, set your depth, and put that bait right in their face. That's how you do it.